Welcome, everyone, to the Blueprint for Peace for Humanity, Day 3. This is the morning session for Tuesday, July 4th, 2017. And welcome once again to this continuing series that has been initiated by Mr. Keshe, and we will continue with this, I believe, through the rest of the month on the weekdays. And for today, Mr. Keshe will be a bit late, maybe 20 minutes or half an hour, and we'll carry on with a discussion, an open discussion, maybe in a question and answer type format for now. And I'm hoping the panelists can help out with some responses today to any questions that might come up. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to have a different format today. If we don't know the person directly, then we'll request that they write down their question until we become more familiar with them, so we can keep a little more keep our situation a little more under control with our questions. We had a lot of questions last time. Some people didn't get their questions asked. So, okay. Let me see. How would we like to proceed here? Let me see. Okay. Just looking at the chat here, and so far I don't think we have any particular questions. I'm just getting things settled out here. We have Soraya wishes to be a panelist. And let's see. To attendee. And okay, so we're about ready to begin here, I believe. Do we have any questions from people in the live stream, or any of our folks that we know that are attendees can put up their hand and we can promote you to panelist? Otherwise, you can write down your question in the Q&A. Is the best place for questions in the Zoom chat, rather than in the chat part of the Zoom chat. But either way, we'll pick up on the questions. Okay, we have Mark. I'll promote you to a panelist. I'm not sure which Mark that is, but we'll find out here. Hello, Mark. Hello, Mark. I'll unmute you and see what you have to say there, or Mark seemed to have dropped out or dropped back. Okay. All right. Is there anything that any one of the panelists or would like to say at this point?
Yes. Good morning, Rick. This is Sarah speaking. I have a question. On Thursday, Mr. Keshe, he said that we will do groups to create together ideas how to contact our presidents or our leaders in each country. Is there something running already, or when do we start to create the groups? Is there any idea?
Perhaps Caroline could answer that. I'm wondering if she's available. I know that Caroline does a lot of work with the groups to try to organize with the international and other councils and whatnot. Caroline, are you there, or is someone else?
Good morning. Good morning, wherever you are, as Mr. Keshe says always. What was the question, please?
The question was on Thursday, Mr. Keshe, he said, good morning, Caroline, I'm Soraya speaking. On Thursday, Mr. Keshe said we will create groups to prepare, how to contact our leaders to sign the peace treaty. Has the groups already started? So are they defined, the groups, or what is the status now currently?
No. The steps are that first we're gonna wait for the response for where we want to do the event on the 2nd and the 3rd. Then we have to wait for a second confirmation. In the meantime, people have started drafting letters and they are already start writing to their presidents and to their whoever they want to address. But the foundation or the councils have not started drafting the letter to go out to the heads of states, because we first need to get the confirmation before we can invite people to confirm the place, the date, and the time when the event is going to take place. So everything is in a waiting step, but we have really urged people to start informing whoever you can get in touch with, whoever you can reach, to make them aware, because once the intent is out, once the energy starts going, people start becoming aware, so they're going to start paying attention. You can alert the newspapers, you can alert the television stations, radio stations, anyone who can support to put it somewhere out in public, that people start getting aware that this event will take place, that we are on the move to go for peace treaty, to request them to sign the peace treaty. That will be the most important first step. The heads of states, that will come under the council's responsibility, and they're working on it. So we are just waiting within the next few days to get a response. The minute we have a response, Mr. Keshe will announce the time, the place, the how, the who, the what, and all the details necessarily. So in the meantime, please do not stop making it aware that we already have 25 days running these workshops. They can come in, they can ask questions, they can share their opinion. The letter which I posted in all the chat rooms was coming from one knowledge seeker, and he signed it, and he really came forward in public with it. Please, you can copy the letter, you can sign it with your own name, you can distribute it. You're more than welcome, because the more people we make aware of this intent, we go all in the same direction.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Are you a student?
Yes.
So the students will also start getting more and more information and receive through this channel, which stays open for public. You will start receiving more and more information as the steps we are going. So don't worry, everybody will come on board.
Wonderful.
But you can already do a lot of steps by just going around in your own environment, and maybe even go to your mayor if you have a good connection with him and say, maybe we can start from the smallest and go up to the highest. It's no important as long as people become aware in the direction we are going.
Okay, thank you. I started already, but I failed in one thing, but I have other ideas what to do, and I will do. Thank you very much.
Share your ideas, darling.
Okay.
Anybody else questions, please?
now's your big chance while Caroline is here.
Every quiet, Rick, this morning.
Yes, they are very quiet, aren't they?
Serve a cup of coffee, you know, to wake people up, or a cup of tea, and nice sunshine.
Maybe a splash of cold water.
Or just dive in a pool somewhere. Nobody has put any questions through?
All I got is peace and love from California.
Okay, then maybe we can start the topic ourselves.
Just 1 second. This is Maria from Norway. I have a question regarding these letters.
Good morning.
Good morning. I was thinking because the event is scheduled to the 2nd, 3rd of August, and the letters, they should be out. We should have a schedule. Should the letters be sent before some date, maybe? Should be, or is it just?
We have time. We have time. We have plenty of time. The minute we already have done all our what we said we would do. It's just we have to get the complete, and then the heads of states, as I said just now. But that doesn't stop the public or you to work with this intent to make people aware that we are in this process of peace, that everybody is wishing this. You can shape it and dedicate it in the form which you feel comfortable with. It was just a very beautiful example, the way he constructed this letter. There was a lot of essence in it. But feel free to create a second one or a third one, and maybe for different groups that we can approach. It doesn't need to be exactly the same. We are all working in frameworks and supporting each other with new ideas, different ideas. Suggestions are more than welcome. Groups which we can reach, or maybe you have a connection with groups, everything is welcome. Because the main purpose of this whole, till we reach this date, is awareness, explanation, teaching on the level of the soul, for people to understand why this is on such a move and why it's going so rapid at this moment.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Do you want to know more about a topic, or do you have any other questions? I'll start the topic of the soul, and most probably Mr. Keshe will come in later on or join me. I did in the last Wednesday afternoon teaching a topic about when the physicality gets changed and how the change will take place when the soul elevates, is that, as he explained in the previous teachings, if you can remember and go back, when he explained fully how to make your ganses to according to, let's say, weapons, that the soldiers will not remember for what and how the purpose they carry a gun. Now, the same counts for when you elevate the soul to a certain maturity, the physicality automatically adjusts. And I can give you an example like the bird will not remember to eat a worm. The fox will not remember to chase a rabbit. Us humans, our physicality will also change. because there will be no more need. And the most beautiful thing is, it will just simply not be there anymore. Because you go through the transition, your fields, everything will adjust and change according to the need. Because one in the very, very previous teachings, I don't even know if Rick even remembers, there was an explanation about a girl, which we know personally. She adjusted her whole body because she loved to go and play harp. But to play harp as a little child, you need very long arms and you need very long fingers. And the parents said, yeah, we never stood still. And they start going, Mr. Keshe asked for pictures, and they could see the child adjusting her body in a very short notice to be able to handle such a big instrument as a harp. So people are already doing these kind of changes for the purpose for what they want to use it. And it's going so naturally that you're not even aware of it. It's the same as when you apply ganses for certain, let's say, you have a health problem and people walk gradually out of it, and it's such a slow process that people, at the end, they don't even remember how they were before. So that's why we always ask and collect videos, pictures, or even a diary that they write down, that there is a trace from the before and then from after the process. And people, most of them, are astonished. Was this me? Was I that bad? I cannot believe it. Because it's such a gentle process. It's like growing up, but you grow into something which has brought the change because of the change of the fields. So you can feed your fields, you can change your physicality for the purpose and adjust for what you want to achieve, what direction you want to go. And because it's a willing and it's you who's emphasizing it, people don't notice. But there are a lot of people which are doing it. People which are playing certain instruments. You try from zero to achieve to play a harp, not because you don't know how to play it, but just physically to adjust your arms and your fingers to even to reach is nearly impossible. So you grow to your wish. You grow into what gives you the satisfaction, what you want to do, what you want to be. And this will happen in the same process with what we're all going in towards peace, towards tranquility, not to harm, not to hurt. It's going to come fast and faster than anyone thinks, because at the moment the transition is done and the change is done, everybody will be wondering, was that really us? Could that be possible? But we will have the movies, we will have the news, we will have the newspapers to remind us that we were once in that position. But the whole knowledge and this open teachings is to bring you to the awareness that we are evolving towards this kind of change, because there's so many souls ready to work on this process. That's why we are welcoming everybody with open arms. We are teaching so transparent. We are so fast to support, to help, to educate. I've never seen this in my life, to go so fast, so open. And nobody even stands still how fast they actually, or the teacher themselves. And I used the example in my Wednesday afternoon teaching. I said, can you imagine you make a pot of goulash on your stove, a big pot, and you just take your pot and you walk out of your house and you go to your neighbor's family and you say, you put the pot on the table, warm, and you say, enjoy the meal. Let me know how it tastes. And if you need more, I make more. Because this is the astonishing thing that people don't stand still. This is exactly what you're doing today. So freely, you're giving your soup of knowledge. You're giving your soup of ganses. You're giving your support to get them a reduction on their energy. You are supporting them emotionally. You're showing the path. You all have become such a beautiful people in giving. But nobody is putting the hand on top and see who's underneath that you are actually doing this. This is a gift. You're all busy by teaching, but you don't stand still how much you have evolved in this whole process. You have become a giver. You have become a sharer. You have become a beautiful person. And the funny thing is that most of the ganses are going out of the door freely, attached with the knowledge. And I can, as far as I remember, usually these kind of goulash, especially when they're coming from your grandmother, you don't give the recipe away. Let alone that you're going to go and offer the full pot of soup in another house for another family to enjoy the soup or the goulash. But this is exactly what all the knowledge seekers are doing worldwide. All over the planet, they have started giving freely. They have started sharing freely, teaching. And the funny part is, they cannot teach fast enough. They cannot give fast enough. They are short of time even to make the ganses. It should even go a little bit faster. Now, if we can do this and achieve this, which is already done, then why can't we not share the pot of food on the stove? Why can't we share what we are having too much of? Why would it not be naturally to share and teach freely or go and give where there is a need? The same process as you're already all applying through your ganses and through your teachings. There should be no difference if it is a gans, or it's a laugh, or a smile, or a handshake, or a support, or some extra clothing, or some extra shoes, or some books, or some money, or a place to sleep. Because you are already all sharing from the point of transparency, from giving. You just share. You have become waterfalls of giving.
Caroline, excuse
Yes.
me, is that like the idea of the twin soul, or is that a different concept?
The twin soul is, by my understanding, that when it's in the physicality here, it means that the other person carries that you feel, or he makes you, or she makes you complete. She balances your fields. It's like a continuous flow between give and take. There are no animosities. There is like a flow. And that's why you recognize, you would say, your other half or what you were missing. It can go in different frameworks. On soul level, you know that there is another part of you. And I think you're always looking for you to complete yourself more with what the other person carries. And there are only a few people which you see, they go through a very smooth life. They're very happy, they're very tranquil. And those are usually the souls which in their energy level, they match perfect. They don't create those up and downs or the contradictions or the huge opposites. If that answers you, Rick.
Yes, yes, it does, and yes, it reminds me of previous times when I've experienced that, and I was going to ask the next question, which is, what happens to those souls that feel complete or united with another, call it soulmate or twin soul? And what if that twin soul either decides to leave or passes away, what we call death or whatever, in this lifetime, and the other person is left without that completion? What about that situation?
I think I can understand the pain and the suffering of the loss, but if you really had a connection and you were really on an imbalance with each other, in so many ways, maybe it's so strange to express it this way, but you should be grateful that the other soul already reached his level. He's already in the other state. And the funny part is, they're so close next to you, but because of your sadness and because of your pain, you you have put like a barrier of a down energy. Now, if you would change your energy into a positive energy, you will start noticing things that that soul still can communicate with you. But it's up to you to remove the pains and the sorrows and the hardship, but turn the table into a beautiful positive. And I have received a lot of messages from people which were in the same situation. People were about to pass away. And then they come back and they said, yeah, they let me know that they are okay because I received this kind of message or this little message, or and I had the same experience through Fabio. Very strange. Very strange. And I maybe can explain it the most beautiful way through Fabio. Because as it was explained, we Fabio was in, and we didn't know where he was. And we go Friday morning to go to the market because I thought he was maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours away from us. And as we are going to go home, we pass because the cemetery is on the left side. And I just sensed Fabio out of nowhere. And as I was speaking it, or the feeling was going through me to talk, Mehran says, I sense Fabio. I said, you just spoke what went through my system. I said, I feel him, but I don't understand why. He says, it's like, why don't you come and see me? That type of thing. Or hi, I'm here, why don't you come? It was a very weird but beautiful feeling. Nothing, abnormal about it, but it came out of nowhere. In the evening, about 5:30, we found out Fabio was exactly 100 meters away from us. And we said, now we realized why we could feel him and why he was calling. And we wanted to go and visit, but the cemetery was closing and we couldn't make it anymore. So I straight away sent my intent to Fabio. We will come and see you tomorrow because we didn't know, darling, that you were there. So we went to say our goodbyes to him. We went to the funeral. And Fabio, I stayed in touch with him the whole day somehow. Even Giovanni, he said, I can feel Fabio. But he says, you know something? He says he's happy. Because I can sense and I can see, pictures. The way he was happy, this was the image he was getting in front of his eyes. I said, that's good, Giovanni. That's very good. Then a few months later, somebody tried to get in touch with me from God knows where. And they had a message from Fabio. I said, okay, no problem. They wanted to talk to me. I said, no, no, no. I said, you have to write everything down, all the messages, because these messages are not for me, they're for his father. That was also the message with it. So I started receiving texts, which then they got translated. And when the messages went through, I got the feedback from the papa. Thank you so much. This was more than needed because we were so down. We were so much suffering. Thank you so much. I said, you got to thank Fabio that he found a way to bring you the message. It didn't matter how it went, but they received it. Because it was his expression to his mom and his dad that he was okay, that he loves them, and that everything is fine. But he gave specific details for them to know that it was Fabio, which I didn't know. The one who passed the message on to me didn't know either. But the father and the mother knew. They were the only two people, and the sister. So through this way, he supported where he was connected with to elevate and remove most of the, the hardship which you're trying to understand. It softened the pain in a way a little bit. And it gives them a support to walk a little bit with a little bit less pain. It still is painful. This pain will, in a way, if it cannot be explained, to turn the pain around into joy and to beautiful, you will be able to reconnect with that person because you're in line with them. If you have had such a beautiful relationship and you were a match and it was so good, she only departed before you, but you can always stay in contact because you have her telephone number, as Mr. Keshe says, through the fields. Mm-hmm. But you have to increase your field that she can connect with you. Because it's like you put something on top of your ears because of the pain. But what if you reverse the pain and make it into, I understand, I accept, and instead of holding the soul, because they can feel you, how you vibrate, the soul senses that. That's the reason why Fabio came back with the message, because of the sheer pain of the papa, because he had a beautiful relationship with his father. And the father could not support the mama, so he brought the message for both of them. Yes?
Can you speak more about what the twin souls are?
What are you looking for as an answer?
Explain what twin souls are.
Twin souls. You can. Maybe on soul level, Mr. Keshe has to explain, but I can explain and express it in how you can recognize it, what it is. It's you just know. When the soul appears in front of you, you just know. It's something which is on the same frequency as you. It's you, but in another half of you. So when you bring them together, they become like one. They just vibrate on the same level And if you understand energy, if you go, the frictions come when you're on different levels of energy, then you get friction. You know, you want to go to the right and the other one wants to go to the left. That creates the difference. But your other half usually walks in the same direction or even feels before you're going to move. And this is in the physicality. You move in the same, you feel, you sense, you know before they're even going to say something. This is the most pure connection on energy level. This is how I explain it. You know that it's like Mr. Keshe explained it. You know, sometimes, you know, the phone rings and you know it's that person on the other side of the line. It depends on your energy level of vibration where the connections are made. And the more pure and the less friction and in tune, it's like a synchronization. It synchronizes. So the flow, wherever the path goes smooth. When you have opposites, most probably when you chose an opposite, it was for you or to go to usually it's to go to a higher level. To go through a adjusting process, learning process, evolving process, elevating process, whatever you can put a name on it. But you're evolving each other. And if you go in the right direction, you can bring the other one to the higher level, and then the other one brings to you also to a higher level. But you can also bring each other to a lower level or to a really disturbing level. It depends how you exchange and how you synchronize with understanding and with the level of how and what the purpose is where you go. If you have totally a different plan, each one of you, you can still function as one when the understanding and the support is there towards each other to guide you on the path in all freedom that you want to walk. But if you start putting restrictions and no's and you can't and I don't support you, and then that becomes the difficult path. The expression in Twin Soul is you know, because your whole body knows when it's appearing in front of you, you just know.
Caroline, we've got a good example of that in a little short video by Doug McDonald here. So I think he's ready to play it. I'll stop sharing so he can share.
Thank you.
Can you get that? Okay, here we go. Good, thanks, Doug. And you might have to select the share computer audio as part of your screen sharing. Did you select that so we can hear the audio? You can try it. It may come through, but you might have to select it by resharing again and select the box at the bottom to share the audio. Yeah, we're not hearing the audio, unfortunately, but we do see the video. Okay, that was a bit choppy and we were missing the audio, but it gives the idea there. So maybe you could describe that a bit, Doug. I'll unmute your microphone. Oh, go ahead there.
Right. Sorry if it wasn't as clear. There wasn't a lot of sound because I was just silent at the time. I was on my way to work this morning, and usually on my way to work, I work as a traffic controller, and it's quite dangerous working with live traffic and so on. So I always stop and sing or chant some mantras that are personal for me. I like to do that to protect everyone involved, so we all go home at night safe. And I pulled up on the side of the road and was just chanting these quietly, these mantras, and this little birdie, this little person came along, and he first landed right in front of the steering wheel on the bonnet of the work vehicle and stared at me, straight at me through the windscreen. I grabbed my phone and started filming his visit, which is what you see. And I just...
Rick, can you turn the sound off, please?
Yeah, can I do that?
Sorry, I thought you might want to hear the bird chirping a bit there.
You can't really hear him because it's right next to a busy road. So
well,
yeah,
if you can actually hear him, just listen to. I could earlier, anyways, but I'll keep the sound off. Go ahead.
So I was. It struck me that something's going on. We're talking about peaceful cohabitation and fear being removed and peace. And it just seemed this little bird was telling me, you know, that he has no fear because I wasn't going to hurt him. And he's saying hello in his language. And you can't see me, but I'm saying hello, you know, kind of waving at him. And there he is. He's hopping around. You know, he just came to say hello, that he knows what's going on in his way. And I thought that was just, you could call it a beautiful sign of the times. So that's I thought I'd show Caroline and everyone. That just happened this morning.
This is beautiful. Yes, you can pick up a lot of, this is what I call synchronizing. Nothing comes on your path just for the sake of coming. It's there for you if you're there to notice, to take the beauty out of it. And it happens in everybody's life. Everybody comes with this kind of really beautiful examples that they get a confirmation. There is a message in it. That is for you to be open to receive or to see or to do something with the message. It depends on where you are at that time, that moment, to be aware that you noticed what this bird was telling you. To come and say hello, or to pick up in your fields because you were doing your mantras. And maybe he even wanted to come closer to you. If you would have opened the window, most probably he would have come and sat next to you.
Yeah, I thought about that, Carolyn, and it was just sort of happened so quick. But I did feel a definite communication with the bird. I knew it wasn't an accident. I knew there was something in it. And just to finish, the strangest thing happened. He did fly away, and after that, immediately after he flew away, my phone rang, and the job that I was going to was cancelled, which meant I had a day off. So I drove a long way home through the beautiful countryside so I could listen and hear and watch the second half of last night's Blueprint for Peace. And it was fantastic. So he was coming to say, look, I've arranged things that you don't have to go to work today because you want to watch that. You want to hear the second half because you had to go to sleep. And so I did. And it was just fantastic. It was really, really beautiful thing. I was so happy on the way home. A lot of stress was released from me because as you're going to these jobs, you build yourself up to get into the mood, if you like, of the work. So that all just released, and I spent a happy, relaxed day, and here I am now, and it's just beautiful.
I brought the same kind of, but in a different way. I posted Tuesday night, very late. I received two videos, and I took my time to go through them, although it was very late, but I took my time and the patience to go through them. And it was so amazing, the information which was in there, but I didn't recognize the whole path, what the message was. I just sensed it was something, beautiful. I go the next day in the afternoon in the teaching, and I told them I had a specific part that I wanted a topic which I wanted to share with them. But I said, it can wait because I will not forget. But can you please, what would you like to know? Can you ask any questions where you want to start? And the funny thing was that the first question which came was related to what I watched the night before. So I could open the door, and at the same time when I was teaching or explaining what I took out of that video, I will tell you one beautiful thing which was understood. But the gift came as you received the bird, I received the two parts of the videos. And the beautiful thing was in there that they were on a path to find a lot of things. If you watch the movie, you will understand. But I will take the most beautiful part out of it. And they were going with the shaman through a ritual. The shaman was the guider. And when he went into the session with the shaman one-to-one, the shaman was asking feedback, and the guy said, yeah, there is a moon, a beautiful landscape, but the moon is right in front of me. And the shaman must have going to get feedback, and he says, yeah, and what is she asking? And he said, she's asking me to open my chest. So the shaman says, so do so. So he says, I just opened my chest. And she said, can I have your heart? And he said, yes, you can. And she took the heart and she washed it, and he was even doing the way she was washing it. He says, this was funny, huh? A moon with two arms and talking to me. This is, out of whatever. The Mother Moon gives him the heart back in his left hand. And she says, now you can put it back. And he looks at his heart and he says, no, I'm not going to put this back because it changed color. It was beautiful pink, but it's gone black again. I don't want this in my, no way, he says. So he had a conversation with the Mother Moon. I'm refusing to put this heart back because it's black. So the shaman says, what is the problem? He says, I don't want this. This is black. I don't want this. So the shaman advised him, why don't you ask for a new heart to Mother Moon? And he said, I did. And he said, I received a beautiful new heart. And I put it in my chest. And then the conversation goes to maybe a week after this all happened, or a few days, I don't know. And he says, I did this all without fear. But we saw the image how he was before and the image when he was explaining this, and he was a totally different man. And then they jump in the conversation to his children, and they said, this is our father we recognize, but this is not the same man. This is not the same Papa we know. And then they jumped to the friends and they said, from 15 meters away, or they call it 15 feet, I knew this was a changed man. I could see, so everybody recognized that he was different. And he confirmed this was 1 week where I lost my whole life, but I gained a new life. And this is amazing, he says. Because this gentleman was severely in addiction, alcohol, you name it. He went through the worst and the lowest, and nobody could pull. And he was rich, he was not poor. And he just, when everything was going, down the drain. And with this change, and me trying to explain this, to bring this to the knowledge seekers, I understood that because he was so in such a bad shape, through the shaman and the ritual, whatever ritual it was, in so many ways he connected with his soul, which came into Mr. Keshe's teachings, that you can reach to your soul, you can receive everything new, you can renew everything you want, you can adjust everything physically. And this is the example what I was using to show this man literally changed physically because he walked the path and he connected with his soul, because the moon, that maybe was the best way the soul could come and present itself to make the communication, to make the link, but it was still his soul. And I've been trying now to make time to go back to this group, because their wish from all these experiences, which were so positive, came on the table, that they wanted to create a center for people which came through the same way as this man about the moon, to start dedicating the rest of his life to people which were in the same situation. And funny, they brought a part of the video back which was said quite 3 years before. The one who initiated this whole path, his wish was, we need to find somewhere a base and the money to create a center to make this available to more people. And they have done, because this person created it. But now, through the knowledge we received, now we can understand, and I could make the connection that they haven't understood that this path, whatever path, to reach to that point, to release so much pain and to change even their physicality, is because they found the connection through the soul, through meditation, through whatever they have found the path. You understand?
Yes. Yep.
And that was also a learning for me, because I could bring it forward and it was offered so freely from somebody else, and I was so curious to go through it. And I still didn't understand, as you said, the bird comes and was there with the message, but I couldn't read the message. The videos were there with the message, but only when I was start explaining, the message came clear to me. To make them aware that they have found a path in their way, and they're releasing so many people from hardship, which they just remove, because they open the path of direct communication. And then the part with that I said, your physicality will change. because your intent is there. And when you see the messages on your path, they're everywhere. You notice the bird. I noticed the video, but there's so many other people who notice so many other gifts. They are continuously coming on your path. To synchronize with you, there is a message. And to come back to Rick with his question, when you can tune and synchronize with the feeling when that partner was next to you in the life, bring back all the good, bring back all the best memories, and you will resynchronize with that person, with that soul, and it will be so joyful for her to show you that you're still connected. You haven't lost the connection. You just went in and sat down, and now you can walk out of it again. And you will start giving us feedback, because I know you will start walking the path to reverse. And this is continuously what we are trying to teach through the Ganses, to support, to rebalance the energy what you're short of. To come in tune with yourself. And when you're struggling, just go back to the root where it started, or just before it started, and see what happened there. But try to look at what was beneficial for you. You know, you can have two parents fighting, blah, 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 and they have fights, and blah, blah, blah. And the children can't stand the fights or the discussions anymore. You have different options how children escape from this kind of stress. Or they go into the woods, or they go into video gaming, or they go into become reading, or they become to research about certain things. So, because they want to be away from that energy, they open a new path to dive in and to explore that platform at that time to the full as they can. Now, you got to ask, because usually there is a negative pattern evolving because nobody explains when the negative pattern starts coming, and it bothers and they can't sort, and it creates even physical problem. Now, if you can explain to the child that quarreling between the parents was a gift to him, for him or her to escape. It doesn't matter in which platform they escaped, but let's say we're going to go to the wood. The amount of time they spend in the wood to find mushrooms, to smell the wood, to feel the energy of the trees, to even go into meditation as a child because they find their tranquility, to connect with something which changed their energy level, which made them to feel good. Whatever they learned in those few hours of escaping, that has been the gift, the beauty. So if you can analyze what the reason was before they escaped, they only remember the bad, but they don't never remember and go back to the beauty of it. So if there is a problem appearing in physicality because of the disturbance of the parents, if you rely and relate the child back to what did you do, what kind of path did you walk, let's say we take the wood walk, then they are there. They can smell, they can sense, because you bring them back to there. I said, now, if your dad and mom wouldn't have done that in that position, you would have never been able to experience this. So we have to learn that every experience, it doesn't matter, there is always something beneficial for the person itself. It's just we haven't been explained, we haven't been taught, we haven't been guided to do the walk back, to go and manifest the beauty of it. If people can walk back the path to manifest the part which was beneficial, even in that strange situation, you see how your soul guides you, how your soul protects you to stay in this beautiful path, because there is always something positive in it. You have been able to become, to have abilities better than anybody else, because you could focus, because you moved away from another pattern. So there is nothing wrong. It's always there to serve, to show, but people haven't learned to go and look at the balance. This was there for this reason, but what did it create in that reason? You understand? This is how you can balance. Always go back to the root of the problem and go and bring and elevate the positive on that level. Then you will understand and let go of whatever was the negative experience, because it had the service to, it had a purpose to serve. And what you are today was from all these before to serve the purpose who you are today. It's just a matter how you look at it, huh?
When I was a child, I still have an elder brother, and he was aggressive, and because of his circumstances. And when we became teenagers, I was following him around, trying to be in his angry, aggressive group, and there were lots of violent experiences, and I was feeling very uncomfortable, sad, and I got rejected every time I opened my mouth. There was a group of people that would always put me down because I was this younger brother that shouldn't be there, because I was not old enough, etc. But through that experience, I finally moved away because I couldn't stand it anymore, and I found another group of friends, and through that group of friends, I found the Vedic philosophy of India through the Hare Krishna books and teachings. I joined the temple. I put in 5 years of service that way. And funnily enough, everything I learned from the ancient scriptures, or if you want to call them scientific books of India, Mr. Keshe is teaching now as a scientist, not as a philosopher. And it's just so wonderful to me that you've just mentioned the pain, and it certainly was painful in my early teenage years, but it's blossomed through a whole lot of synchronicities and experiences to where I'm sitting in front of this computer now talking with you and everyone else. And it's just showing me that a really bright and wonderful pathway that I've been given to walk. And I'm just grateful. I might cry, but I won't. But it's just wonderful. And thank you, everyone. And this is the best thing that's ever happened. Thank you.
You know what you and what I now will emphasize on this, and I really will emphasize on this, is that say thank you to the friends and say thank you to your brother, because he pushed with the circumstances for you to walk a beautiful path which has brought you so much benefit.
Yeah.
So this is what the secret is, that you do not get told where your path is going to take you, but you have to trust the path you have been put on.
Mm.
And if it is being so disturbing, I try to explain wherever I can, go back. And this is one of the first explanations Mr. Keshe added to when I brought my pillow bashing, to go and take the best and the most beautiful thing out of it. And understand where it changed the path, what you got out of it, what it was beneficial for you, then suddenly that pain becomes a gift. Because if that pain would have not been there, you would have not changed your course, would you? You would have stuck to your brother and you would have walked the path, but in a different way. But your soul had a different purpose. It had a different agenda and it brought you right where you needed to be. And now, when I see, and through this explanation and with this, you know, what I experienced in the last teaching, that's why I said it's a gift to be with you all, because I received so much information that reconnects with events from the past, which now I can put in practice, or I can at least try to explain. I saw in the last few days, you know, boys which go and picking on their sisters, and really it hurts. You see the girl going, you know, red and trying to avoid to get this kind of insult from the brother. And it was so painful because at that moment she was so happy because she just did a performance and she was, you know, she was so happy, and that nice happy feeling just got removed with one pinch. And I turned around and I explained to the boy, I said, you know something, I said, you shouldn't do this because she's a girl. I said, if you learn the behavior and you don't correct yourself and you treat girls, which are women in the future, I said, you will attract the wrong girl with the wrong energy. I said, why don't you start building a respectful relationship? I said, it's not fair what you do. I said, at the same time, in the same wording to the girl, the same explanation, because she does the same back to the brother. So it's a tic-tac game. I said, if you both don't realize at this time, at your age, that you shouldn't do towards each other, girls to boys and boys to girls. It's a pattern behavior. I said, if you realize that this is going on, and in the moment you're doing it, please remember, and I will explain you why. Because if you treat your sister that she can trust you, and you're not going to keep on pinching her to hurt her because it's fun to you, it's what boys do, and most probably you copied it from other boys, and it's a pleasure to see girls screaming and howling and crying, whatever. It's to see how they can get a reaction from the other sex. But the other way around plays the same game. I said, but if you can trust each other and not go out of each other's way to hurt or to harm or to pinch or whatever, I said, you will build up a solid relationship in trust that your brother or your sister will be there, not to harm, not to hurt, but in openness and in respect and giving and caring for each other. I said, nobody in the future will be able to put a twitch between you two, because you will be one, because you can trust, because you don't harm each other. You change your energy instead of pinching and taking. Now you change your energy in giving. I said, because it's the same for the girls. I said, you go and, you know, bring boys down. I said, this is the path you're going to create, and you're going to attract this kind of boys because you create the environment. Funny enough, they both understood in the path where I explained to them that it's more beneficial to give than to push them, that they will get an energy which is negative. And they changed. They have stopped pinching each other. It will take some time for them to get used to it because they are already doing it for quite some time. But it's our job as parents and mothers and fathers to stop and to break the pattern of behavior when you notice it. because it will bring you back to your own childhood. And what you most probably are experiencing, you can change the path. We have to mature our children by explaining them why, and take the time to explain it when you see it going wrong. It's not a wrong, but just to correct. Now, it will prevent a lot of corrections in the future. That's how you elevate the children, by explaining, and maybe even going to your childhood and say, you know, if you see them going down and they have stress and they have problems, try to walk them to why the stress is there. Go to the root of it and see if there is something positive in it, that they can turn themselves around and look at that experience and take the best out of it. Then they will learn in their path that there is always something good in it. But they will also, in the meantime, start trusting themselves. Because with this, you create a path of confidence that they can walk, they can analyze, because you show them the path how to analyze. And this comes back to the same teaching of Mr. Keshe. Learn to give. Reverse the process of taking. Because this pinching is taking, is removing energy from somebody else, and it's a laugh. But you deplete the other person from his energy because he gets angry, and the whole mood, the whole energy just boom, goes down to the floor. And just with a simple explanation, the reason why, you can change so many children's lives. You can guide them to make their path much smoother. And because you make their path much smoother, they will see the signs of the direction where the soul wants to take them, without first to have to go through the hardship as we have learned, as you just learned, if you understand. If you would have been, but if you wouldn't, that doesn't matter anymore, because you're now to overview the hows and whys, and you still can turn them now in an acceptance. My God, my soul knew better than me, because it guides you and it has to force you and it has to push you. But now we are all getting and receiving the knowledge how to start to learn to listen, to communicate, to connect with the energy of our soul. So our path should open up much faster in synchronization to know where the soul wants to guide us. This is what we're going to receive from this knowledge by sharing. You already all changed your path for months, the ones which were the first at the foundation 3-4 years ago. They already changed the path because they became givers. And all of you are following because it's so pleasurable to see your creation in your kitchen. Some people even sacrifice their bedrooms. They live God knows where just to make enough room for the cancers to do their job and to see the evolution and to learn more. And it's so beautiful. And they're not holding back. They just come and say, yeah, I moved out of my bedroom because now my bedroom has become my lab. But they don't realize what a big change giving has become to them and to so many others. Now, in the same topic of the soul and elevating the soul, you received it through your brother. Somebody else receives it through something else. Some people receive it through the Ganses. Some people receive it by just being a student, by being present in the presentations. Every soul is picking up something which will guide the path and open the path which is smooth for your soul to walk in the presence of your physicality. It's just to stand still. And I think the purpose of this next 20, I don't know how many days are left, is for every single person to bring the positive, because I think we are finishing with all this past of mayhem, of pain and suffering and not understanding. Because people like you bring the gift. This is what happened to me. Somebody else brings another gift, but we're all learning. We are all going back to our own memory bank, and we bring the changes. And this is how the foundation and the knowledge seekers have been working already for years. But they don't stand still that they are doing it. They have all become, as we would say, a pot of gold to give. So freely. And the funny thing is, maybe now when I say stop and look back how you came, your soul took you by the hand to walk you into the Keshe Foundation.
Definitely.
This is the beauty.
It is.
So many souls have taken the hand of the physicality to walk you all into the knowledge, into the beauty. And they don't even realize how beautiful they have become, because they have all become like suns shining. Look where I am. Look what I can give you, what I can give you, what I can do for you. They have all become givers. And this brings me back to a memory from in the kids' class. A father has only one boy. It's 3 years old or something. And he's working with knowledge. He has his garage is full with God knows nano coating. He has touched all the levels of whatever knowledge he could get his hands on. And he came in the teaching and he was explaining. And he says, but I have kids. I said, what do you mean? He says, yeah, I have 10, 15, sometimes 20, depends. I said, what do you mean? Explain. He is looking after, you know, the children with the key in their pocket, that the parents are too busy because they're working. They have no time for the children. So he has made a connection with all these children, which would be wandering on the street and maybe ending up somewhere not right. He has started collecting these children, and he has smoothly, slowly brought them all to his garage, and they can do their own experiments, they can make the ganses, they have even spiritual sessions that he senses what their abilities are, and he allows them to develop in what they are best. And when he was explaining all this to me, I said, excuse me, sir. I said, you have a big family. He said, what do you mean? I said, you're not a single parent anymore. I said, you have spread your arms around maybe 20, 30, 15, it doesn't matter, but it's more than one. I said, your how do you say, foster. I said, you have become a big, big, big family. He had to sit down and said, you know, I never looked at it this way. I said, but you're taking care of 15, 20 children and you don't realize that you took the job to be their dad at the time they spend with you. And on top of that, you're such a generous dad because you pay attention to every single one. You give them and satisfy every single soul, whatever they come in, whatever need. I said, you're there. He said, yeah, my garage is open. They can walk anytime. He did not realize, as so many other knowledge seekers, he has taken 15, 20 children under his wings. And he had to realize it because he is so busy giving that he didn't understand and he didn't even realize what a beautiful soul. And this is what you all knowledge seekers have to start to understand. You have accepted the gift and you're working with the gift because you did. And in this process, that's why it's going so fast. It's growing. Your fields are expanding because of your giving. Your lives are changing. They're changing on day-to-day basis. You receive more and more gifts. I will even explain something to you, which came to my attention this afternoon, if I may so.
Please.
You know that there are medical systems getting requested by doctors, and one doctor, somehow he is not working with the right intent, or his intention or his agenda was different. So everything started going wrong. Nothing was there and blah, blah, blah. And then a little bit further, there was an alternative therapist who also got the system. And they say miracles have started happening. I said, what do you mean miracles? Yeah, that's how people name it, miracles. But in fact, the system is doing so good, it is unbelievable. So I start listening to the explanation why and how. And the therapist said he had an older man who he was something with rheumatism. He says, you know something, we know each other already for so long and I enjoy you talking. You know something? He says, I have to do paperwork and come and have a coffee. And as we're having a coffee, he says, just go and sit in the system for an hour and a half, as long that I'm not on my own. So they shared the friendship, they shared the coffee or whatever they were drinking. And the funny thing is, 1 or 2 days later, the gentleman was bald. He says, can you see? He says, my hair is regrowing. He says, not only my hands, my pain is going, but he says, I'm getting my hair back. So you can imagine, he just offered for him just to sit for a few days or 1 week. I didn't listen to the full, but I just took the parts out. He invited him for free to sit in the system. And he didn't only get the benefit of the hands, but he also was growing his hair. And when this all was going, he came back when, now he's, what we say, but he received whatever he needed, but he still comes back to the system and he just put the money on the table and he says, 2,000 euro. This is what it was worth it for me, he says, to come and sit and have a coffee on your account, he said. And there are more wonder stories coming out of this system because the therapist knows where to give and where he can charge. So he's working with the fields in the correct way. They brought a child with an extreme high fever. They put it on a bed in the system. It was there for 4 hours. I said, why so long? They didn't want to take any risk, but they just were so happy that the child was safe. It came out of the system, no more fever. Child, perfect in order. I said, okay. So they left it in there for as long until the fever started dropping. And more and more and more stories will come out of the system. Now, the funny thing is, when I was listening to all this, when we were driving, the topic came up that the doctor, which has no results, because somewhere the energy doesn't work, that system will be picked up. I said, by the way, I said, the holiday time is coming. This system is not going to be appointed to nobody because it was one of the first ones. I said, why don't you offer to the therapist, which is doing so well, just for the time we don't need or we don't have no destination for it, just go and offer it for free to put it in next to him so he can serve more and help more people. Oh, that's a great idea. I said, go. I said, just offer where you can. And then we'll see what the outcome will be. Maybe he will request the system to stay, or maybe somebody else will donate that the system can stay, or it will find another destination. You see, your soul takes you by the hand to show you the path. This therapist will he will not be able to write the reports fast enough of people walking in and out of the system, which the benefits are already there, and it starts spreading by mouth. He didn't advertise. People will bring people there. They are already doing it.
Yeah.
Soon they will line up to be there. So we have to make sure there are enough systems to help and support enough people at the same time. Instead of bringing the system back into storage where it will have no function, I thought, why not offer it for it there to be for the purpose it needs to be, to support more. You're all in the changing path of evolving. And the path will become more and more smooth the more you find this voice of your soul, because it's already guiding you. You just don't see it. Maybe with my explanation, it already took you by the hand and brought you to the knowledge. Maybe you will realize and walk the path back that you are already in connection with your soul. Now, maybe it will have a clearer voice to communicate with you more direct. Because it's your soul which brings you the gift. When you're willing to give, then your soul can evolve. Because it's just there to collect, to give. More. And
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Excuse me?
Sorry, go ahead.
And the funny thing is, you all receive more than you ever could imagine before you were taken by the hand to walk into the knowledge. The father got 15 children on his plate. That's the best example I can give you. His family grew in a few weeks to 15, 20 children, and he's so happy. Because he's nourishing so many more souls. It means his path was there for it to be there. But the gift he's receiving back from the children, I think we're going to have to invite him to explain that to us. Because there is a gift back from the children which have received from him. And very soon he will be able to hear the whisper from the souls in a gratitude back to him, where he, as your brother, as your mother or your father or your sister or your friend, has changed the path for you to follow your path of your soul easier. They will start resending and re-offering the gift to him. His life will be so blessed. With so many children returning the gift. So you can't go wrong. You're not going wrong anywhere. It's an understanding, and I hope through the way Mr. Keshe is teaching, he elevates the souls. But sometimes it takes a few days or maybe a few weeks for them to get the click. This is where it connects with what? Because somewhere it came on your path to see the connection. But your soul will never tell you where you're going. You got to trust your soul. It has all the benefit for you. It's the trust. It's the disturbing fields which now we are going to smooth the part that we can remove these by and through understanding and through giving.
Caroline, Boniface asks, I gather there are some exercises that are done to elevate the soul. Could you share one or two with us? She says, I imagine the Mojans have did some exercises. Thank you. How would you answer that?
In my first...
You've already sort of described a couple of exercises.
Yeah, but I didn't.
Actually.
I didn't go into detail because I'm very careful where the information goes, that people don't harm themselves in the first place. Because Mr. Keshe brought it already in on the platform of explanation. Be very careful with what you copy and what you want to make answers of. And because the fields are so enormous, they're so strong, people still don't have any idea, because when we explain that every grain is a sun, now always remember it looks and it feels in strength like our sun. So you take the most hottest day at lunchtime, when you really can put a chicken outside, it will fry, or an egg will burn in the sun, you will have a fried egg. You can imagine the amount of energy which is in a plasma field which is not visible yet. The best advice is that start slowly. For the ones which are not trained, the ones which are searching to find the path, the best way is to bring yourself to 5 minutes silence. Put a clock next to you. 5 minutes in silence is not easy. You try to keep your monkey brain quiet, not to talk to you, not to bring your shopping list and your keys and was the door locked and I need to take care of my mom and I can't forget this. You can imagine what goes through your head. We call it the monkey brain. I call it the monkey brain because it's beautiful, because it keeps on talking to you. And you do not know where to find the switch off. You learn this by trying to be quiet with yourself. As I explained also last Wednesday, I said I passed a presentation from a professor and he came up with a very beautiful explanation about this. He says, from the minute you're born, you hear your voice of the nurses, the doctors, your parents, your siblings, uncles, aunties. These are the voices you're being brought up with. Then he says you go to school, you get your teachers' voices, your friends' voices, music voices. And then when you grow older, you have your partner and your children. He said, but now I came to understand, I don't remember because I can't find the link from it and I didn't save it at the time. He said, you know, out of all these years, he said, I think he was in his 50s or 60s. He said, I never could listen to my own voice. It was never there because I didn't know it existed. It was so silent because I recognized all the other voices and I always heard all the other voices. But where is my voice? And the only part you can find your voice is by closing off all the other voices and go to find and listen to your voice. And it will start appearing because this is you. But you avoid it because it gets overwhelmed by all the impressions from your daily routine and the habits. So break the habit by going quiet. No more than 5 minutes, and it's already going to be a hard job to get to the 5 minutes. You see, you will build it up by trying really to be just quiet with yourself. They start putting these kind of exercises in the schools for children just to go quiet. They have seen an improvement in their education, in their calmness, by just bringing their own peace to inside you, where you can at least be peaceful. And I don't ask more than 5 minutes. Then you can go and expand and learn how to breathe. There are sufficient enough breathing techniques. Control your heartbeat. There are so many different levels you can go and exercise and learn, but allow your soul to choose the path which will fit you the most or the best, or will be the most beneficial for you to reach that target. Because for me, it can be exercising, it can be sleeping, it can be dreaming, it can be applying the Ganses, it can be the meditation state. But for you, it might be totally a different path. There's so many different paths. You go to India, you go to China, you go to Japan. They all have a certain development, martial arts. There's such a big exploration about all these techniques. I cannot learn all of them, but I can choose and guide myself to go to the most acceptable, easiest one for me. But the main thing is to find peace within you, to start listening to your soul, which is your real voice, which most probably you never heard. And it's just by sitting quiet with yourself in nature, at home. Try to find for 5 minutes a day, no more. You can even achieve it in 1 minute. It just depends how fast you can silence your thoughts. Because they're the ones who are running your whole daily life routine. And that's why you don't listen or you can't hear. And this is synchronizing with who you really are. That's why your soul took you by the hand to maneuver you, and that it can do to bring you to the spot. And some of you still haven't recognized that it's because of you, you already are. But try to reverse whatever was and came with the pain, that your soul knew what was best for you. That maybe at this time you don't realize. But go and dig to the funny and the nice parts and the gentle and the beautiful experience. Now go in gratitude and say thank you to all the people and all the souls who brought you exactly at the point where you need to be at this moment. That's giving too. And I think you're all going to agree with me. This is a beautiful path to walk, isn't it?
Yes.
I still struggle. I don't see I'm different than anybody else. Because don't forget, I'm the same student as everybody else. I am evolving and learning and applying and trying to do and change and try to, wherever I can, understand. And you are all my gift. Any questions, please? Or a different path? Or because you're all so quiet.
Thank you. Thanks, Caroline, for that. That's just absolutely wonderful. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Speaking of minutes of silence and so on, we were supposed to have a minute of silence on the hour. Every hour was kind of the little exercise we set for ourselves, and it appears we forgot in the last hour due to our busy monkey brains perhaps got in the way. But maybe we can have the minute of silence coming up in what is it, 7 minutes or so here, just to put that in there.
Rick, for what purpose shall we dedicate this 1 minute of silence as a wish?
Well, generally it's been with the theme of the blueprint for peace for humanity, but there's so many variations of that, as you were describing, as there's variations for people's paths and so on. Maybe we could possibly direct it to something more specific that's appropriate for today's conditions and environment?
Shall we?
What might that be?
Shall we create the wish to give to all the souls which will be addressed to through the purpose of these teachings, to give them so much that it will not be difficult to surrender to sign for peace.
Okay, we weren't supposed to start quite yet, but that was a good way to start.
Oh, we can even close our eyes and imagine, see them walking and see them signing. Because if we confirm that it's already done, your wish is your command. Because you're all creators, so you can create the path of peace. You can direct the energy to where it's most needed, and it's only a few if you analyze the total population of this planet. And this is not only including the humans. We have to include the totality to bring it into balance. Because there's so many other souls which we don't see, which we are not aware of. But because through the teachings we become aware of them, like the plants, the animals, the trees, everything is serving our purpose for the purpose of this planet, what it gives. And it is blue, as Mr. Keshe says, so it is the expression pure of love. But we're going to have to give a little bit more. So we start giving to those few, they will be so overwhelmed. And if we close our eyes and we see them walking and signing, then that will be the biggest gift we can give to all of us. The totality. As Mr. Keshe says, you always have to understand the totality. So by giving to a few and combining in the wish that it will serve the totality and it will serve the animal world, it will serve the humanity, it will serve every single soul which is present at this time, at this moment on this planet. That is a big wish with a big gift to serve all. It has a purpose, it has the direction, it has the content, and it has the giving. And it has the confirmation that we confirm it will be done. And I would love to suggest people which are in these public teaching rooms for each minute to express the wish. Maybe to repeat it or to add or to make it more complete, to serve the purpose of this 1 minute of silence. Because we have to give it a gift for it to be served. And it can only serve when you give it a content, a target, a destination. As Mr. Keshe said, you got the telephone number, you dial the number, you reach in zero time communication. Because when you close your eyes and you express the wish, and it's sincere to serve totality, it's done because you confirm you're a creator. But we can all, as one, create in the same direction.
Okay, well, we could begin the minute of silence with that objective starting now. Okay. I think Mr. Keshe has been waiting patiently in the background and listening in on us here. Maybe it would be a good time to bring him into our discussion. Mr. Keshe, are you willing?
Willing and able, I hope. Good day to you, and good afternoon or good morning to wherever you listen to these teachings. It was nice to hear. I joined in the first maybe 20 minutes of the teaching, sitting in the background and listening to Caroline. It brought a lot of things home, a lot of understanding home, and a lot of question marks in do we understand or do we know what we are talking about? Does anybody or has anybody realized what this piecework which we have put on the table means? We saw a gentleman from Germany who was part of the structure of the negativity to confirm they exist, appeared yesterday, putting all sorts of ridiculous questions and everything across. We got his home address, we got to know where he is. But what is interesting is, why do we need to discredit for us to exist? I've thought about it a lot yesterday and this morning, and I came to one conclusion. This man has no peace at home. I wonder what he does with his wife and his children. I wonder what he's done to his parents. I wonder if this gentleman has found peace in his life ever. Mr. Klaus, I think it's for us to wish you and your family peace. Aachen is not very far, but in so many ways is very far from your soul. Do we need to elevate the soul of people to find peace where these people have no peace within themselves? We teach these weeks principle of peace, principle of the soul, and why I chose the soul and the peace together at the same time is to teach the two at the same time. It's very simple. It's the soul of the man which brings man to the peace. But the peace shall not come if the soul of the man is not at peace. It's two different ways to look at it. We're asking, as I said many times in past few days, 7 billion of us to get less than 200 of us to sign to free us, that we put them there to make a jail for ourselves with their pen. Does not make sense, does it? Why do we need a man to go to Haifa to sign that we gave him the right to be the signatory of us? Why don't we sign ourselves to peace? I put a question in the background. What is the twin love? What is means where we are loving to as a twin? We call it the twin soul. We are soulmate. But I heard the Caroline answering to it because it was needed for her to understand what it means when you're in love with someone. I wrote in the background in a very simple way, in a very, very simple way, to explain what we ask for. Isn't it what we are reaching for? Isn't it what we want to give, but we don't have the strength to accept that we are the giver? In the afternoon, I teach more, but this morning I want to put you in one direction. Why humanity is looking for peace, where his soul is at peace. It's the body of the man which is not following the soul. What makes us to become man of war? What makes us to wish for what our soul is, but our physicality cannot be? These teachings will stay for centuries. It's the first time man in the future will hear the voice of the truth from where it comes from. Not as it's in Quran with hadith and written in other books and other things years later. But one question to ask, not from us as the present generation, the future generation of humanity. What are we looking for? Where ourselves are the tool of this destruction. Soul of the man is at peace. It's the body of the man which has not found peace. We are hoping, we are praying, we are giving, we are doing every and cajoling in every shape or form to ask, to create a condition that 200 men or so will go and sign a piece of paper. That with it we find peace for us. And I tell you one thing, when the man is given the chalice of peace, we will not know what to do with it, because he has fought so much to gain it that he lost the whole target and is still fighting for something else. Now the next step is
Hello. Hello, Mr. Keshe. Hello. Okay, we have to drop out there. He'll likely be back shortly.
He lost connection. We got used to it. He will be back.
Guess we have another minute of silence then. We have a bonus minute of silence, other than I just broke it.
Add to the wish, Rick.
Sorry, I'm back again. What will be interesting for us to understand how peace is connected to the soul of the man, and how soul of the man is creator of the peace. There are a lot of questions for us to answer. We are not here to preach. We are here to enlighten. We are waiting for a few people to make a few decisions that we can start moving to say that we can be peaceful and we can be free. But there is no peace in the man who is fighting within himself. When I saw the video where the gentleman shows the bird sitting on the car and is trying to tell me something, immediately brought a backwash of memories. Exactly some 8 years ago, 9 years ago, I was walking from bottom end of the Olympic Park to the top of the Olympic Park in Seoul with a few people. And as you walk up the hill, you pass a park on your right side. And this bird, exactly like that bird, that's why it brought memories back to me, start shouting and shouting, and he wouldn't stop. The people had been trying to get rid of it, but he was talking and talking. He was making so much noise. I turned to him and I said, my mother has died, hasn't it? You're bringing in the message. And the bird flew. Everything stopped. I walked into the Park Hotel in the Olympic section, and I received a call telling me my mother has passed away. I many times remember that bird because it brought so much to me. That day, that night, or that afternoon, the security people came into my room and they said, you have to move. North Koreans have found out where you are. Your life is at risk. We have to move you. I said, my mother has just died. They said, no, you have to move. It's too dangerous. They moved me to another hotel. And then the next day, they came back and they told me, they found out you're here, we got to move back. They moved me back in the same hotel as they moved it the day before. 4 o'clock in the morning, they came to my room, moving me. And that was the first day my mother died, as I was just about her death. And by 6 o'clock, they brought me into a room. You stay here, we change your room, you're safe here. And as I walked, I slept and broke my ankle. And I was unconscious on the floor maybe for 1-2 hours because we arrived about 7 o'clock. Next time I knew, it was 9 o'clock in the morning when I was on the floor. Managed calling the securities to get me out to the hospital. They told me my ankle is broken badly, it needs operation. And strange enough, as I mentioned in Thursday, we saw how a dark soul goes and writes he did not even attend the funeral of his mother. What do we do with these? These people have no peace at home. People, they never had peace at home. And they convey this lack of peace to the others to create mayhem, that they exist, that with it they create wars for the others. Go back, look at the history of the life of these people. Homeless, adulterous, killing other scientists to get their things, and then carrying on. Then they have to disturb others because they had no peace. They cannot see humanity at peace. But the strange thing is, why they ended up being in a condition they are. Because they killed another scientist to build a house which they gave to the wife. And then the wife is part of the same crime because she knows it's a stolen goods. And then the whole cycle comes with another scientist, with another designer. Because they never found peace. There is no peace in that home. The strange thing is, they carry the same thing through, and then they support people of the same mentality. And then they end up with the same thing. The process is, these people have never found peace within their physicality. Even the soul is peaceful. Do we need to bring the humanity through pen of 200 people? Or do we need to bring peace to the soul of the humanity that doesn't need the 200 people to sign them to peace? You cannot run a peace organization, a peace program, without finding peace at home in the soul of the man. That's why I put the question to Caroline. Can you speak about the twin soul? And she explained it beautifully. We look at the twin soul as there's another soul. But in fact, our soul is twin with the rest of the souls of this planet and the rest of the universe. We are part of that twin. We have been so physical that we see the twin as one person, one soul. But in fact, the whole universe is in balance with us, otherwise our soul will not exist. We've been so selfish that we think about us and who is our twin soul. But in fact, as we understand the process of the field, we are the other side. We are the other twin of the whole of the universe. Because if you go back to the teaching, I explained, in the center of the plasma of the existence is the soul of the Creator. Then the soul of the Unicos, then the soul of the universe, then the soul of the galaxy, the solar system, the earth, and the man. Our soul has taken position in respect to the trinity of the rest of it. We are part of it. We are the twin lover of the rest. And this is what man has forgotten. We are a speck of dust, but this speck of dust soul affects the totality of the room where the dust is held. All the dust in this room. Because if we move this dust, the others have to move to find a position to cover the space, so the rest have to move. Every soul is precious. When one soul is not at peace, it's not the soul, it's the man which has to find peace with himself. When a man steals, he loses his home, stolen from him. And then he has to steal from somebody else to justify, because he hasn't seen what is stolen. Why he's on the street, why he lives in boxes, why he goes to the process of building a villa, but the villa goes to the hand of the others, but there is never love in that house, which is built by the stealing from the others. Because the wife is part of it. She helped the loss, she helped the stealing. And then they go, because they don't find peace in their physicality, bother the others. This is the same as I said. The man who designs the gun, thinks of making the gun, to the man who shoots the bullet of that gun, all their souls are responsible for it. We have a very good excuse as soldiers. I'm a soldier, I'm carrying orders. I have to shoot. I'm a soldier, I do not shoot. Let me talk to the guy who I'm shooting to see if he has a child. If the boy is waiting for that to come home, can I be that boy? Can I be that father? If we ask the enemies, what we call the soldiers, to stand up and talk to each other, ask him, have you got a son? Is he waiting for you? Are you going to cook for him? Is the mother waiting for you to look after her? She's old, she's brought you up. If I kill you, who's going to look after the child? Who's going to look after the mother? I will. I'll go and look after your mother. We don't need to fight. Man has not matured to understand. The soul of the man is at peace. He has to find peace in his physicality. When we see people come to disturb, we saw it yesterday. The gentleman from Germany, with all the lies, he could not go from lie to another lie. I let him speak. Because to him, he was adventurous. He came and he said he wants to speak about something, and he could slander as much as he could and run. I could tell him off. I hear Rick lost his temper with him. But my soul has a peace, but he brought a lot to me in his way. I prayed for his soul. Because there's two things. We know where he lives, we know who he is. Tomorrow morning we can put a lot of pressure on him. Where he lives. Do you want me to give you the address? Very easy. Is Mr. Schmidt Klaus, diploma engineer in Belgium, 52076. His telephone number is 02408-58642. Call him and tell him, we pray peace for you, sir. German number. You can write a letter for him. KLEIBERWEG number 4, 52076 Aachen, Willem. His home number is 02408-58642. Call him. Wish him peace. We need to bring peace to those who brings us misery, because then when they find peace, we don't have no misery. Yesterday we had another lady with us. She asked questions. She is an intriguing question. She has a beautiful face. And us, as members of the Keshe Foundation, we were trying to convince, we were not trying to educate. Our job is to educate, to enlighten, and it's for them to understand. Do we need to bother, or do we need to let it go and one day somebody does something with it? Peace and soul cannot be separated. I have a big discussion with Caroline, and my discussion is very simple. I was supposed to take a holiday, and I haven't taken a holiday for a long time, but I have put my family and myself in the process of trying to get this peace process, that I miss a holiday, but I bring a holiday for humanity. We work around the clock. The Keshe Foundation team has put its soul and body physicality in round the clock work. For what reason? We can easily crawl back into what we put and sell a lot of goods and live a very rich life. Why do we put? Why are you here listening? Why we take our time to find a solution when a man as a whole has not found the peace in himself? It's very simple. Because we care. Because we are that dust in that room, which if it's not there, the others have to make move and be reconditioned and repositioned, that they have to have something different that they can cause the others to move, and nobody wants to move. We are a speck of dust, but we are the most important dust in there, because without us, everybody else has to move in different way and shape and forms. Or do we sacrifice our soul to elevate their souls, that they don't move, they just receive what we have? We are putting a lot of pressure. For what reason? There is 7 billion out there. Is the man who's holding the arrow just about to kill a pig in the jungles of Amazon care? Or the Israeli officer who shoots a child or a man in the head on the pretenses of defense will listen to us? Or would the President of the United States, lavishing in the Oval Office for breakfast, trying to make billions for his nation by signing another arm deal, does care or listen? But it goes back to the beginning of discussion. What is a twin soul? What is a twin star? If one star moves, the other one has to reposition itself to move. If one takes a little more, the other one has to give more, come closer. If you haven't got the point, I clear the point. Each one of our soul has enough strength to move every other dust in the room. So has the strength to change the soul in the room. The room is planet Earth and the universe, and the man himself is citizen. Many people keep on asking, he has started another peace movement. No, this time we have started peace for the soul of the man. The rest of it will follow. Yesterday, when this gentleman came on and tried to say, you started the peace process there and there, I wanted to answer him one thing. We said we give the world leaders a chance. But the stupidity of the question he put was very obvious. The world leaders did not listen. This time we do it ourselves. The term was over. It took time to set it up. Now we do it as a human race. We know the world leaders have failed, but we'll let them to be ashamed of their work. And we let people like this Mr. Whatever his name is, in Germany, in Aachen, telephone number 024-08-58642. This is the telephone number of his soul. Because that's how we connect to him, to elevate his soul. And the strange thing in us, did you hear me? I made a fool of him. But the fool was you, because you never listened. We said when the world leaders don't listen, we take action. They had till January to deliver. Now we take action. We gave 2 years to the world leaders to share the patterns and the keys. They didn't. We opened it. Now we gave them the chance. I was so ashamed to embarrass this gentleman because he was so busy with himself, most probably thinking he's very clever. I pray through your telephone number for your soul, sir. And please call him, tell him we give you our soul. They use these telephones to make threats for the children's life, for bothering the soul of the parents. Call this gentleman and say, we pray for you, sir. The point is, we need to understand that we have to bring peace to the soul of the man. The pen of the peace will follow. We have to understand we need peace within ourselves. And this is the problem. I can teach you how to extend your soul. I can teach you how to use your soul to fly. But one thing you forgot. You're a twin soul to the totality. Caroline said something very nice. When you are twin and equal and in balance, then you become a twin soul. Because you balance each other. So is the soul of one man with the rest of the universal forces. They created the soul of the man because through it they have to find a balance within themselves. Every speck of dust counts, so does the great soul of the man. Now you understand why I put the teaching of the soul and the teaching of the peace together. With the strike of a pen, I can create peace. But you never learn. It's man who has to sign himself to peace. We carry our lovers and we call them our twin souls. Our lover is the universe. a lover is the rest of the humanity. We have come from part of it and it has become part of us. We are created out of it. And it's created out of us. We call it the trace of the genes that we all come from the same mother. But nobody ever said, then we can go spread right among the same line as the mother is connected to the child to reach the world leaders through the soul of the man and not to other parts. Trying to get to Haifa is symbolic. Trying to get to the soul of the man to understand there is no need for Haifa is the essence of the peace. I tell you something very interesting. If I start teaching the Keshe Foundation supporters around the world one thing and one thing only: no gun anywhere on this planet will fire. But what are we going to do with the criminals, the bank robbers and the murderers if we disarm the police? Or are we going to raise the soul of totality that everybody has, that nobody needs to rob and nobody needs to kill to have something? Now you understand why and where we are going with this peace work. I have walked on the mountain of Carmel. Not long ago, I've been on that mountain. And I found it absolutely shallow and nothing in there to offer. The reason was because it's all made to show, but doesn't carry the soul of the people who are inside it, that it means what it's got to do. Is another building, another place that man one day can say, very much like Colosseum. Has the same position and power in a way as Vatican. That's another new version of Vatican, that in the future becomes Vatican. I was telling Armand this morning with laughter. I said, or was it today or yesterday? I said, if these people accept, it means they're out of job. But they have guaranteed themselves 1,000 years to have a job. You got to understand why the religious leaders oppose every religion and anybody who says who they are. Because if they accept they're out of the job, nobody wants to be out of the job. If the Pope accept what I offer as peace for man, how can Vatican make money out of the death of the wars, the cry of the children who are orphaned for years? I'm the worst nightmare for the church and the religion, because they can't kill anymore and then there is no more problem. And they make their money out of killing. They incite killing because by it, they earn money with the funeral, this church service, and the rest of it. No business is better business than being in the church business. No taxes. Kill as many as you can because they come to you. Now you understand why we have to elevate the soul of the religious leaders. Because they have to come to understand that they are nothing but messengers of death. So when you enlighten them they won't do, it will not be there to be done. There is no murder done. How many people every day today have died in the name of Islam? In the name of whatever, Christianity and Jews. Very simple. Open the television channels which they set these things up, and you will see. Bombing and killing in the name of God. Banking money in the name of God. But which God? Where is the God who says to kill? And the most important thing is, what we would like to know is, where does the God bank this money? Because the rest of the universe would like to get his hand on it. Now you understand why I brought the peace and the teaching of the soul together. Soul is peaceful, so the peace has to be the effect of it, the reflection of it. The media, the transition time, is the emotion of the man, which is physicality, creates mayhem. We can elevate all the souls, but all the souls are peaceful. Have you seen any souls fighting each other? Have you seen any souls killing another soul? Is the man who does, because in a way he's at war with his soul, because he doesn't want to have peace with himself. Two choices. We find our twin love. We find what I call the true love, which is the twin love, and what he calls my twin love, and call upon it to come and enjoy his presence. But don't forget, that twin love is the whole of humanity and what is on this planet. One thing you all have forgotten, the most powerful dynamic reactor sits within the brain of the man, which is the soul of the man. It's not meditation and it's not praying. It comes in a way by the change, understanding and feeling. Many of you think when you listen to these teachings, I prayed, I give from my soul, but doesn't happen. There's one thing you forgot. There is 7 billion of them, and another 100 billion of them called the trees, and there is another 100 trillion of them called the ants, and the rest of it. You are dropping a drop in the ocean of the creation of the planet. It needs a lot of drops to fill a cup, let alone the ocean. But the soul of the man is strong enough to create that much. It just needs the beautiful word that was used yesterday and today, for the souls to synchronize. When we started the first knowledge seeker group, when the 7 people sat around the table and I sat in front of them, and then I put a ball in front in the middle of the room and I said, when all 7 of you wish the same, understand the same, this ball will lit. But it's strange enough, suddenly start turning black when Mr. John Skelton started putting poison around the room to kill. What was supposed to be light, it became black. I want to tell you a secret. We open it up because it'll be as part of the evidence in the court. Then you will hear very interesting. When we put to the court and we take it across that Mr. Lorenz has planned both deaths, poisoning with a dark soul, we have evidence. We can show he has left a lot of traces everywhere. But I have two choices. Shall I destroy him, or shall I let him to destroy that his soul finds no place to live? You have to understand, we choose our word very clearly, very cleverly. I wonder how many of you can guess from your home how your friend in Washington got poisoned, and by what? How many of you can analyze and prescribe a poisoning? Unless you didn't send the poison yourself. And then fear of loss makes you to move. Mr. Lorenz did. It raised me two questions. He has a soul which controls his physicality. I was wondering in 2 points. You know, when I showed you, he's put a picture on that he took a picture, but he took the poison himself. He could not kill, but he could tell his bosses, I took the poison by mistake. The second time he did the same, but this time he informed somebody else that this is the poison we've given him. Which means the soul is pure and does not want to be handled and be part of a murder. But the physicality cannot do anything because it's already committed itself. The souls are pure. It's the man who changes it. Being somebody who steals patents. Being a king who comes and asks for the same pattern. Being the foot soldiers of the king that they mess everything up. We are looking in the wrong place. The souls are pure. Is the emotion and the greed of the man which tenses the life. But there's one thing. Do we need to give to a soul to find peace? When we give to a soul, when we are depleted, that we have to take from another soul for what we need. Because when you give, you receive more, but it has to come from somewhere. Our soul does not allow us to harm any soul which is not and is at peace. My soul is at peace. And for that reason, does not matter what everyone does around me, does not touch me, because I'm at peace. I know I share. I know I give. I'm not attracting to take, but I give enough that I don't need to worry that I'm going to take, because the balance comes within me. This is what the man has not learned. Because with me, I know I can take from the free fields of the universe through my heart, that it feeds my soul. I do not need to take from the soul of another man. Another point. Peace will come when the man learns with confidence of his soul that his soul is peaceful. It's the action of the man who has to find the tool of peace to justify the existence of his soul. Now, I repeat again. Many of you in past 4 or 5 days were wondering, now why does he teach peace? And it started the teaching of the soul. Once I can bring the soul to show that it's peaceful, then the action of the man becomes peaceful. No soul is born, created, accumulated to kill. Have you seen a star killing? It has a soul. It creates your soul. Have you seen a galaxy killing, shooting bullets? Because when its essence is peaceful, it's a bigger creature than a man. Has a structure. So is a microbe. So let us think. Let us understand. And the question is very simple. It's not that if our soul is at peace, it is that our soul is at peace. It's us as a man who has interfered with his physicality at the point of manifestation. The problem is between the soul and the physicality, what we call the transition position, or what we call in the body of the man, the emotion of the man. In a space, why there is no war? Because the soul of the man in the depth of the universe, if you understood the teaching in the past couple of weeks, amino acid cannot exist. Because in another position of the field of strength, when the amino acid is not there, you die again. Man chooses to work through the soul because he understands physicality in one dimension or one position will end to his demise. That's why. You have the protein in your head, you enter near the field strength of a package somewhere in this solar system, which has come from the sun, which is above the level of the strength of the protein amino acid brain of the man. It dissolves like a sugar in the hot water. Now the soul is free. If you have not managed to convert, and as what is in the writing of Baha'u'llah, transmute all the physical strength in a matter state into the free energy of the plasma, in one point or another, you will lose it. The only thing is, you have changed the burial ground from Earth, when the soul separates, to somewhere in the space. Why do we leave this planet then? What's the purpose? To die somewhere else for the separation to come? Or we understand the totality from the beginning? Now, for those of you who will come back with more questions and answers, or now you might have been enlightened with some information and knowledge, to create peace for you is very simple. You are the twin of the Trinity. You are now the part of it, because without you it doesn't exist, and without it you cannot confirm that you exist. And you have to understand that your soul is at peace. It's you who have to find a peace within the physicality, or take the transition part out of it, that the physicality finds peace. You get in touch directly with the soul. And if you get to that stage, you can travel the span of the universe with a flick of a finger. I've used a lot of ganses, a lot of terminology. For one reason, and that is to bring peace to man. Because you have to see something. You have to have something to confirm instead that you exist, not that that exists, because without it you can't confirm your existence. The life of a man is like a painting on the wall. The color we see in the painting in every spot is the color that the canvas has not absorbed. So is the physicality of the man in respect to his soul. Now you understand why I thought the GANs and the nanomaterial and the matter state. The air is the matter state, the nano is the physicality of the man, and the soul of the man is the GANs of it. Now you understand more and more what in next few weeks we'll go through. We play the game of fools. We need the place to be. We call it Haifa. But in fact, we are there as we have been because it's our wish and we are part of it. Because the wish comes from the transition point, not from the soul. We adjust it to what it be. One point before we finish, then that is, find your soul. You have found peace. Because once you find your soul and don't have no fear of it because it's peaceful, your soul becomes the sun. It'll expand the whole of the universe and enlighten every being, not only on this planet, but the whole of the universe. Your twin lover, your twin soul is the totality of the universe. Without it, you don't exist. And without you, it cannot confirm its existence. Now, let's talk about the truth. Do we want peace? Or our soul is the channel to the peace? That we reach the man in Amazon as much as we do the octopus at the bottom of the ocean. Thank you very much. And let's see what knowledge comes in the second part of today. Thank you very much indeed.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Keshe. And that'll complete the morning session for the Blueprint for Peace for Humanity, Day 3, for Tuesday, July 4th, 2017. And we look forward to the afternoon session in approximately another hour from now. Okay. We'll end the live stream and resume later.
Thank you, Rick.